Hello there. Time for some Last Z News, mobile edition on the go. Well, today we had SKJ attack BMX for level 4 city in an intramural squad battle that was ultimately unsuccessful. It's brought up a bunch of really good questions about how to determine the order of ascension for cities amongst the top three, which got overly complicated once KLM kind of jumped out of the NAP, because if they're not going by the same rule set, the rest of the players in that rule set are basically having to figure out who gets what and when. So as an example, SKJ has been ranked in the top three now for a little bit. According to the old rules, they're due a certain amount of cities, right? So how do you determine who's in the top three at what point in time to trigger that mechanic of, hey, these cities are ours versus not? I want to make it very clear, and I don't know if I've ever said this, so I want to be crystal clear here. When I do these news videos, I'm not a Catlantis officer speaking to you. All right, this is not the official position of Cat. It's just me giving my personal opinion about it. I would say that if you're going to do any kind of an order for anything, and you're basing on combat power, the way to do that is to take a snapshot of the Alliance combat power right before reset, before the capital battle and the server battles. Because if you do it at actual reset after those battles, you now open up the problem of, is someone in their rank because they're actually the first, second, or third, fourth, fifth, however many strongest alliance, or are they artificially inflated because they didn't take as many casualties in that battle? And I'll give you a real world example that just happened. In the capital battle, if you were in the mud with me, you may have noticed there weren't nearly as many Cat offensive people in the mud as there normally are. That's because Catlantis is a multinational alliance, and we have people in a bunch of different time zones. And unfortunately, on the capital battle, maybe half the alliance wasn't online. You had people who were asleep or at work, and they just couldn't get on. I mean, the number one player on the server is Mike 1. He didn't get to get on the capital war until nearly 2/3 of the way through the battle. You're not going to make as big an impact if you don't have your big hitters on when it's time to fight. So if you were paying attention to the rise and fall power levels as we were all, refilling our troops, there was a window where if I took a snapshot, Catlantis was the number one alliance on the server. Now, are you telling me Cat was actually the number one powerful alliance? No, they were just losing the least amount of troops of that group at that time. See? Artificially inflated because they were less deflated by losing troops. That can happen at any point in time. If you take your snapshot right before total reset, then it would behoove any alliance trying to be top three for whatever those benefits or gains are to simply sit out and not play at all. Just not go to war at all. You'll have no losses. The other alliances would then artificially lower and, oh, hey, look, I'm number one now. See, I don't think that would work. In my personal opinion, the way you would have to do it, look at the power rankings before the capital attack and before the server war. That way you know what these guys are theoretically at their best, because we should all be refilling our troops in preparation for the capital battle and the server battle. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I'm in a lot of different chats with a lot of different people. No one has any agreement on anything. No one has any agreement on what the NAP situation should look like. People have not agreed on what the future of the server should be. People aren't agreeing on who should be fighting who. So there's a lot of open possibility for things to change very rapidly. So as I find out more, I'll go ahead and do more updates. But the power structure of the server is going to fluctuate indefinitely until we figure out, is everyone still fighting everyone? Are people on certain sides and teams? Are mergers going to occur? I love PvP. Now, again, I want to say this not as a Cat spokesman, just me talking. I love the mass PvP battles. I think it's pretty clear after the capital server that KLM has a strong lead on the upper T9 headquarters. In my opinion, if you want to have really fun PvP battles, you're going to have to see some of these other top alliances merge together, because none of them are taking on Korea one-on-one. You're just not. KLM's too far ahead. I'm not being fatalistic. I'm just telling the truth, right? Until you get a bunch of people merging together to make an actual second roster capable of going toe-to-toe, you're not going to see the kind of strategic PvP that I like to see. It's part of why I don't get very frustrated when we lose the server battles, because we get thrown against these states that are just spending way more money and have been around, longer than us. That's not a matter of strategy. It's a pay-to-win game. If these guys roll in with 6 different level 30 guys who were all stronger than Scoob was before he quit, like, come on. I don't know how many of y'all looked up Prum when we were going to have to face him, but, like, there's no battle plan for that. You can't take out someone with T10 troops with T8 troops. It's just a game mechanic. You can't do it. So we're going to see what happens in the next, days, weeks, whatever. But keep your head on a swivel. If you're worried and you're flush with resources, keep your shields up. If you're a smaller guy, peace is not in sight, my man. I don't know what to tell you. If you are on a smaller alliance, and I know I said this in another video, don't open your resource boxes unless you are going to actually build something. And if you don't know if you have enough, look at the box, pull out your phone and turn on the calculator button, and multiply the number of resources by the number of boxes, and then look at that number. Because if you're sitting on a couple 100 million resources, not spending them, ooh, you are a tasty, tasty treat. And there are hungry, hungry hippos. Nom, nom, nom. They want you. They want you. They want them resources. So, good luck. Good hunting. See y'all soon.